There, friends. It looks like we're live, so I am just going to wait for it to catch up with us. Welcome to our Tuesday card making live. We're happy that you're here with us. I am waiting for this to pop on so that I can make sure that there's no weird audio or echoing issues. All right, there we are. Welcome to Tuesday Live. Excited to be here with you guys today. Heather will be joining us soon. Actually, there she is. I see her right front and center in the comments. So Heather is the person behind the Pink Brush Studio name today. She will be moderating in the comments for me while I am live today. So welcome everyone. I turned my hot foil machine on because we are going to do a little bit of hot foiling today, which I'm excited about. And welcome. I see a lot of you are finding us, which is awesome. We're happy that you're here. Before we get going and I start chatting about all of the different things, first and foremost, I want to say welcome. If you're new, we would love for you to let us know, or if you're a first timer here at one of the Pink Brush Studio lives, let us know in the comments. I may not see your comment once I get going, because once I'm crafting, it's a little hit or miss what I actually see. But this is like a great big welcome to everyone, whether you have been joining our lives for years now or if you're brand new. We're happy that you're here. Now, we give away a $15 gift card code at the end of every live. So all you have to do is what you are currently doing, and that is chatting with us in the live chat. Heather will randomly pick a winner at the end of the live. So chat with us, hang out with us in there, answer questions if you know the answer to someone's question. Lisa, Holly, and I are new. We're not new, but we're good. We're really glad you're here. Oh, thank you, Teresa. That's really nice of you. Anyway, back to the $15 gift card code. Every comment that you leave in the chat is an entry into the giveaway. Now, something else that you can do is underneath the video, there's a little button. It has an arrow and it says share. Click on that button and share wherever you see fit. You could share to Facebook, you could share to your Instagram stories, you could share if you have a crafty email or direct message. And finally, if there is a crafting group on Facebook that you frequent and you know that they are okay with live links being shared, go ahead and share it there. Make sure you know the rules. There aren't not all of them like that. So just make sure you know the rules of those groups that you frequent. Come back here. Let us know in the, pardon me, let us know in the comments that you shared, and that's just an extra entry. Finally, if you give the video a thumbs up, it's not an extra entry or anything like that, but that just helps the video, the reach of the video, both now and while it's on replay. And it's just super helpful. Someone is actually, Emily mentioned she sees ink labels. These are actually my makeshift labels that I made a while ago. I don't have my ink labels quite yet. I think they're being shipped to me soon. So actually those are technically not the labels. Those are just mine, the ones that I made in the interim until the real labels came. All right. Thank you guys so much for liking. Thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate that a lot. I'm just waiting for my hot foil system to heat up. So I don't think that I'm trying to think if there's anything I need to go over. Oh, actually, this would be a good one to go over. Our site is shutting down tomorrow for the next approximately 48 hours. So it's the last chance if you are interested in the weekly promo this week, which is 35% off of select products. Today's your last day. You got to get those today because we have some changes that we need to make to our website that we can't make while it's live. We've been doing a lot behind the scenes while it's live, but we've got some changes that have to be made with our entire site being brought down. So the plan is for our site to be up and running on Friday by 7 a.m. Central. We're really good about sending out emails if for some reason that has to change. So, but fingers crossed, all goes well. Everything will be ready to go. And Friday, up and running on Friday for our next sale. So keep that in mind. If there is anything, or if you're wanting to take advantage of this week's promo, today is your last day. Okay, my hot foil system is heated up, so I am going to go ahead and switch down to my desktop camera, and we'll get going. Oh, I'll be over there in just one moment. Give me 1 second here. All right, I forgot to grab the products that we're using today. There we go. All right, so my phone is always a little bit behind what we're doing, but that's okay. So we are using the Amazing Things product suite today. Pardon me. And interesting enough, when I was planning out today's card, I actually based my entire card around the fact that I have never used the Citrine foil. We carry this in our shop. Everything that I'm using today is linked in the video description. And I still even had the sticker on it. I did test it because sometimes colored foils are a little finicky for me. But it foiled beautifully. And so this is what we are going to use today. So let's go ahead and let me arrange my desk real quick. Let me get my hot foil system so you guys can see it and you see it's nice and ready. And let's grab the Amazing Things press plate. So let's go ahead and get the press plate onto our system here and hit the timer button, and we're going to let the press plate heat up. And let's go ahead and trim down our foil. I do need to grab my paper trimmer. Give me 1 second. Thanks, Wendy. Trying hard with the video stuff lately, trying to get it all dialed in with the lighting I have in my room. So thank you. I'm happy to hear that. All right, I think 6-ish inches should be plenty. And someone is saying it just looks gold. You know, it does have a little bit of a gold look, but in person, in real life, it does have more of a green tone to that gold. So I can see where it does look a little just gold on screen. Well, hi, welcome everybody joining in right now. I'm basically just getting started. We have just started. I've let my press plate heat up, and we're just going to foil it really quickly. I'm going to grab my die cut machine, and then we are going to foil and get going. Nice. So you're not going to be able to see every little bit. I just don't have quite enough desk space for that, but we're going to do our best. So you'll notice the timer is off. So I'm going to shimmy this over to the side so we have a little bit more room. Now, my platform is a little harder to release from the base, so I'm going to go ahead and release it now. And then we are going to put this foil pretty side down on the press plate, and then go ahead and add our cardstock. This is 100-pound smooth white hammer mill cardstock. And then, of course, the 2 plates that come with the machine. That frosted green is the heat resistant shim, and it's the one that you are technically supposed to put closest to the heat source. So we've got that all set, and I'm going to just run it through my Platinum 6 here. And let's see how that did. Oh, came right off. So, and look at how perfect those results are. It's always hard to show because when I point it towards my window, it basically blows out the foiling, but perfect results there. So I will set this aside for later. I don't have time for solid foiling today, but let's pull this guy off. I'm going to put it down on my glass mat because it pulls it off quicker. And then let's go ahead and grab both sentiments from the press plate. One of them stayed behind in the packaging, so I got to grab that real quick. And let's add both of the sentiments onto our foil system. And I think this little extra piece will cover that just fine. It will. So let's heat those up. And we are going to use some teal for these sentiments. I'm going to tell you, I have technically also already foiled them in tangerine. I wasn't sure which color I wanted to use today, but I knew I probably wouldn't have enough time to foil both and then also get all the ink blending done. So I should just use my paper trimmer, but we're just going to do this old school really quickly. Maybe if I can get this to cooperate. All right. That should be plenty. Okay. Well, I'm glad you guys love those. Okay. All right, made a big mess of that. So while we are waiting for this to finish warming up, the reason why I put this on my glass mat is because it cools it super quickly. So I'm going to be able to put this away really quickly when we're done here. All right, you can't see it, but timer stopped blinking. Oh, goodness. So let's pull that platform from the base again. Let's put our foil pretty side down, add our piece of cardstock, and we're going to do the same thing as we did with the larger floral. I am just going to run it through my Platinum 6 really quickly. I know, I love how well the press plates foil as well. And it's wild because I feel like you barely feel like it's going through your die cut system. And I'm almost in that, like, how could that have possibly even worked? And it works perfectly every single time. I got a tiny bit of overfoiling on that, but I will just grab my, what are they called? Eraser, and I will tackle that momentarily. Let's go ahead and get the sentiments off so they can start cooling. I am going to turn off my hot foil system and put it away. So I don't need it any longer. Over there. And we're also going to put away my Platinum 6 here. And I'll go ahead and grab, maybe. Oh, I see that. I'm going to grab this little eraser here, and I am going to just gently erase off those couple little dots of extra foil that left behind. I'm not completely sure why they got left behind. There wasn't even foil, like the foil plate there. So maybe just heat, and maybe there was a little little did some foil that got left behind based on the heat. But there, now you would never even know they were there. Hi, Isha. All right, so for reference, I also foiled it in the tangerine. So we have the teal and the tangerine. I'm not completely sure which color I want. I know I'm going to use thank you, but I've got the two options available to me when I go to put the card together. Now, these are fully cooled and safe to put back in the packaging. And that's what I like about cooling them off on a glass mat, because they cool super quickly. And now I can clean up and get going on the rest of my project. Now I have to grab my grip mat, so give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Forgot that I had left it in its little drawer. So this is just the grip mat that came with the stamp wheel from Altenew. I like these because I can They are my cardstock adheres down to them nice and snug, and then I can technically move this around, and it's just, I don't know, I just like the grip mats. So if you haven't tried out a grip mat yet, it saves you a little bit of tape, that's for sure. Goodness, throwing things around here. And I have found I really enjoy using them for ink blending. Let's grab the coordinating stencils for the Amazing Things product suite. And I'm going to go ahead and take stencil 1 and 2, which are the leaves, and I'm going to move them to the back. I prefer to do the flowers before the greenery. That's just a personal preference. You can do the stenciling in any order that you prefer. It just happens to be that my preference is, what's the word I'm looking for, is petals first. I did also forget to grab my blending brushes. So give me 1 second while I grab the coordinating brushes that I need here. I think I'm going to also need this one and this one. Okay, perfect. So I am using a color palette today that is not a typical color palette for me. There is not a pink in sight anywhere. Well, I am technically using some aquas or turquoises, which is one of my favorites. It's not for greenery. So I decided to pick some ink colors that I don't use very often. And because I used the citrine foil, I thought that it would tie in really well with our color family of citrons. So that's what is going to be my greenery today, but we are going to start with the petals. And I am just aligning those stencil openings with the foiled image. Now, there are little notches in all the corners of our stencils, but those are for when you're using them by themselves. I would say this stencil set would look a little abstract without either the stamped or foiled image. So while you could always try and see what you think, ink blending the stencils on their own, I do think that this one is a bit more complete when you use them all together. I know, right? No pink, no coral. I am fully out of my comfort zone today, but I think that it still is going to turn out really lovely. So I'm going to start with the bigger flower, which I'm going to do in the turquoise color family, or Amalfi Coast is what we named this color family. And I'm starting with the lightest shade, which is Waterfall. And I'm going to ink blend a little deeper right at the base of the flower and then blend it out to give those petals some gradation. And I really like how that looks, so I am not going to add any more. Thank you guys. I'm glad you like my color choices. Now, I think I used a little darker orange the last time on this. So I'm going to show you, we show this almost weekly, but I'm going to show you just a quick way that I clean out my little brushes from Pink Fresh. Actually, I do this with all of my brushes now. I am just going to spray a couple spritzes of isopropyl alcohol on this dry lint-free cloth. And I am just going to buff out any excess ink that's pretty much mostly just at the tip. There probably will still be ink in further towards the fistule, but I am just going to buff out the ink, the remnants of the ink that are on the very top, so that I don't accidentally blend like clementine or persimmon into my apricot, which is a bit of a lighter shade of orange. So with it all clean, the great thing about the isopropyl alcohol is it does allow the brush, it's basically immediately dry. So you can go ahead and start ink blending and using it again, versus when you clean them with water, you do have to wait for them to fully dry before you can use them again. Both methods are perfectly fine. I just really like the alcohol method for the sheer quickness of it. Well, thank you, Stacy. I appreciate that. Okay. So stencil 3, which is the stencil I started on, is done. We've got a good start to our petals. Let's move on to stencil number 4. these are going to color in some additional petals. These stencils are really easy to find where they go because they pretty much line up with the outline of flowers. There aren't really any details in the flowers. All of the petals are just different shades. Now you could do your petals multicolor. I'm going to stick in the same color family for each one and just go up a shade for each one. I'll stick with the same brush, but I will use this brush, and same with this. I think that I used a darker tone that last time, so let's just give my turquoise brush a good clean, get out any excess ink from it. All right, there we go. Okay, well, let's start with turquoise and let's get more of that larger flower blended in. I'm doing the same thing that I did on the first stencil layer with the initial petals. I'm blending, pardon me, a little deeper at the base. And then softening that blend as it blends out towards the outer edge of the petals. And I think that turned out great. So let's move on up to Clementine for the second layer of our orange flower there. Now, would blue and orange flowers ever be on the same stem in real life? No, but that is okay. Paper crafting doesn't have to be real life, right? So in my brain, in my little crafty world, blue flowers and orange flowers grow together, and it's perfectly fine. Stencil number 4 is complete. We got one more stencil to finish up our flowers, and then we will move on to the greenery. Got our final set here. I do apologize that I'm a little sniffly. My allergies are in full force, and even with taking an allergy med every night, that just kind of hits the major symptoms. So I still am a little bit sniffly and a little bit coughy. So I do apologize for that, but nothing I can really do about it. So just bear with me while if I have sniffles or all that fun stuff. All right, for the final set, we're moving up just to the next shade. For me, for the orange, it's persimmon, which I don't reach for hardly ever. So I'm happy to be breaking that out, pardon me. And then moving up to Paradise. I'm going to start with Paradise. I don't feel the need to clean the brush because the last color was lighter than Paradise. So I don't really feel the need to clean that off. You're never going to know if a little bit of turquoise gets blended into the Paradise, but you might notice it the other way around. So that's why I do the cleaning if I know I'm going to be using a lighter shade than what was last used on the brush. Let's finish up our little persimmon layer. It's just one tiny little detail on this flower. It's not much persimmon on this one. All right. And our flowers are done. And look at how beautiful those turned out. Oh, I just love it. Okay, let's move on to our 2 layers for the greenery. I'll just do a quick cleanup here because I can move down to just one pad holder. It's just one color per stencil now. All right, we are coming back to stencil number 1 because I prefer to blend flowers first. So I just rearranged my stencils. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you love the flowers. I think it will be exciting to see it finished once we've added in the greenery or the leaves. Oh, I got that one a little off. Let's try this side again here. Yeah, I did get it off. Great thing about stencils, you can always readjust them if you move them. Okay, we are starting with bay leaf. I am going to clean my brush real quick because I think I used Spanish moss last on it. Yeah, I sure did. So let's buff that clean. Well, that sounds like fun, Jane. That would be fun to bring with you on a camping trip. Okay, so I am going to blend the leaves much like I did the petals. I am going to blend deeper towards the inner part of the leaves and then blend them out to be a little lighter as you get towards the outer edge of those leaves. Take a drink of water here shortly. I'm going to try to get through the leaves first. All right, and then these guys, I'm going to do the same thing. The smaller ones, a little bit harder to achieve that gradation on, so I don't worry too much about the gradation there. It's just about getting some ink in them. Don't want to make the leaves too light, but I also want them to have that nice feel of gradation. Got a little much on that guy, but that's okay. We'll just have a lot of gradation. A little more at the base of this one here. And I think we're going to call that good. Oh, thanks, Emily. All right. We could stop at this stencil because look at how lovely that turned out. However, you do have a little bit of a leaf here that doesn't have anything. So even if you didn't want to do the next stencil layer, which are the leaf details, I would still grab it and at least get that little detail blended in. I'm going to do all of it though, because I do like the added detail that this layer adds to the leaves. And if you use that little tiny sliver that hasn't been blended in yet, and then just basically kind of, not snuggle's the wrong word, but just kind of move the stencil around until you notice that all of those details are within the leaves, then you know it's not going to ink blend outside of the lines. And as long as it's within the leaves, it works perfectly. It works perfectly great. Right, we're going to bump up to Spanish moss to finish off our stenciling here and finish off our little stem of florals, a little floral stem. I used the two deepest tones in our Weeping Willow color family, which is our Citron color family. Thought they were the best choice for some greenery. And I also thought that they matched that citrine foil super well. Oh, that's cool, Mom full of joy. Great. I think we're going to call that good. Not really worried about too much gradation on those ones. They're mostly just details. And we are done blending. So let's take a look at the final reveal of our beautiful floral stem. And just for reference, I also, maybe if I can find it, I also pre-ink blended it in the opposite colors. So the just for the florals. I may or may not use it. I'm not completely sure. I know for sure I'm going to use the one I blended today. I may trim this extra one up and place them here and there. It just kind of depends on how the composition of my card comes together. So I have it. I'm not sure if I'll use it, but I thought it was pretty. And because I wanted to test that citrine foil, I figured I would have that there. And I was able to make sure that it foiled well. All right, I will set my stencils aside. I'll clean those off later when once the live is over. So I'm not going to worry about doing that now. I am just going to do a little bit of desk cleanup. So bear with me while I move some things around and get a little organized here. Okay, so I am not going to die cut sentiments yet. We will do that a little bit closer towards when we're putting the card together, but I am going to go ahead and get the floral piece cut out. It's so tiny. So let's get this lined up. Let's use those pieces of tape that I held the stencil down with. Glad you guys like my colors today. Like I mentioned, they're a little outside of my norm, but I thought, what the heck? I don't always have to use pink. I don't always have to do everything the same. Um, and so I thought that these were kind of pretty, very fresh summery colors. And it's fine. It's starting to get warm here. We kind of go off and on. We have warm days and then we have kind of rainy, stormy days, which is pretty typical for Minnesota and the Midwest in general, I believe. So, all right. I think that is lined up pretty well. All right, I'm going to run this through my machine and I will be right back with it once it's cut off. Let's, that's going to tear my paper a little bit. That's okay. Gary, I am in Minneapolis, just suburbs that's just south of Minneapolis for now. We're moving back to Montana next year, but for now I am in Minneapolis. All right, oh, wrong side. I see the problem. I put my little, and I did it again. There we go. I am going to pop out the little chads that cut out with this guy. Oh, hopefully that one cut. I think it hadn't. Oh, perfect. It did. All right, so I've got two florals cut out. Now I'm going to grab an extra piece of cardstock and cut one more of these just to give whichever one of these I use a little bit of extra rigidity because they do have pretty thin little stems and I am notorious sometimes for bending stuff like that. So I am going to grab just a scrap piece of cardstock and I'm going to cut one more. Give me 1 second to find that. Well, let's cut it from the A2 piece. I can't find a scrap piece that's big enough. So go ahead. This one I don't need to worry about lining it up with anything. All right, I'm going to run this through and I'll be right back. Here we have it. little piece out of there. And now I can glue a couple of layers together here and it will make it a little bit more sturdy with those thin little stem areas it has. All right. So we are done die cutting for now. We will have to die cut sentiment here in a moment, but let's start assembling composition wise the card itself. I did some pre-cutting beforehand, but I'll go ahead and show you the items I used for pre-cutting on it. So my background is this diagonal stitched plaid die. This one does have a cutting edge. It's one of our first cover plates that we came out with, and it does have the cut edge. I trimmed it down because I wanted more of that citron green card base to stand out. So I have just trimmed it down a little bit. And then I went ahead and I cut our Ornate oval frame die, another essential. This, as you can tell, has some of our original packaging. So this is from one of like our very first essentials releases, but I haven't used the frame in a long time. There were plenty in stock that I noticed. And so I figured that would be perfect. And I did cut it from our gold glitter cardstock. And whoever said that the Citron did have a gold tone to it, it certainly does. And so our glitter gold cardstock complements that the citrine foil really, really well. As mentioned earlier, all of the products I've used are linked in the video description if you are wanting to grab any of these. So they're there for easy access. Now I am going to assemble this card. I'm actually going to adhere down the plaid panel, and I wanted to mention something. So I am using this super very thin foam tape that I recently got. It is 1 millimeter. So I did show this to you because we tend to get quite a few questions when we use different foam tapes. So I just wanted to show you guys how thin this foam tape is. It is literally 1 millimeter thick. So it is really perfect for when you're wanting to add a little bit of dimension, but not 2 layers, like which would have happened if I'd used the same foam as am using on the oval frame. So it's this tiny thin foam tape. It's from our friends at scrapbook.com. I did link it at the very, very bottom of my link, the video description of my link list. It's there. And I think it's on sale this week. So if you're wanting this like crazy, super thin foam tape, that's where you can get it. And it's a really excellent price right now. So keep that in mind. All right. Go ahead. I'm just going to adhere this directly down to my card base as centered as possible. I'm not worried if it's not perfect. And then look at that. You get a nice little bit of shadow, a little bit of dimension, but it's not so much dimension that you can't still slide this into an envelope. I am going to go ahead and glue my layers together. I do want to make the flowers a little bit more sturdy, just so I don't accidentally bend them at their stems. I have not used this glue in a while, so it could be a little loopy. There we go. Should work. Maybe not. What's going on here? I knew I should have cleaned this before going live. Talks amongst yourselves while I fix my glue. Give me just 1 second here. There we go. Got it working. Maybe. It was working for a second. Now it's being stubborn again. You know, I like all thicknesses of foam tape. I think they all have their place. Um, so I was thrilled when I saw that thinner version, just because sometimes you want to add a little bit of dimension, but you don't want like the full double layers. Like you want to add dimension to all of your layers, but you don't want every single layer to have like tons and tons of thickness. So I was pretty thrilled when I saw that in my I got a little giveaway package from them not too long ago and it was in there. So I thought it was really cool. Someone's asking if our ink labels go out of stock, if we'll be reordering them. Absolutely, we will be. So I think those are going to be something that stick around for quite a while because our inks aren't going anywhere. So I think it's safe to say that the ink labels are going to be around for a while. All right. So I know, all right, I don't have to cut that away. So I will just be able to slip that underneath there. So let's go ahead and adhere down our frame. Get the release paper off. There we go. And then same with the frame. I am just trying to center it best I can. Not worried about it being perfect. And then I know I've got room where I can tuck this little flower. So now I just have to know if I want to add any little flower details from the other one, or if I just want to leave it at the one flower. I might just leave it at the one flower, just because that's kind of a lot, isn't it? Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at the one flower for now. It is kind of Beauty and the Beast, isn't it? Yeah, I think I'm going to just leave it at the one flower. I thought I might tuck a couple of additional flowers in here and there, but they're kind of just a little too much, I think. I think I like having a little bit of the extra, the word I'm looking for, white space. So I will just use this on a different card. Maybe I'll just make a matching card to this after the live is over and photograph it as a set. All right, so there's that. Ooh, I should probably do that. Let's go ahead and choose a sentiment color. I have got teal. I've got tangerine, which I can tell you right now, I'm already not loving tangerine. And then I also have it in the matching citron. And I am leaning towards teal because the citron is just a little bit, it doesn't really pop off of the other citrine. Sorry, I keep saying citron. So I'm going to go with the teal. And I'm just going to trim this down. I will die cut the other one later. I am not going to use the thinking of you sentiment right now. So let's grab, I've got to find my little cutting plate. I'm not sure where I put them, so give me 1 second. Aha, I found them. I was at a crafting retreat last weekend and I had not pulled them from my little bag that had packed them in when I brought my little machine with me. I can finish up using these two pieces of tape here and get this die lined up. Thanks, Heather. Right. Round. Ooh, hold on. I feel like that. Let me make sure. I feel like it might have gotten off. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay. It was just the angle. Didn't want to mess up my sentiment. So, okay. That cut through. Very nice. Right, we go to the side. All right. Well, I'm glad everybody agrees with me on the teal. All right. I have some extra pieces that I had pre-cut already when doing release projects. So I'm going to grab a few just extra layers of the thank you and let glue them together so we have a little bit of extra dimension and make this a little bit rigid because as you can see, it does cut it out nice and it's nice and thin. And so I think that this is always super helpful to make it so you don't accidentally bend it or rip it, and also helps with a little bit of added dimension. I do love the little tiny die cut machines for this purpose. It always feels like such a waste to me to run my big cutting plates through my machine for such a tiny little sentiment. So I do find that it's really nice to have one of these smaller die cut machines. Okay, is being very stubborn today. Alicia Key is asking if you could use microdots for this, and you sure could. I think I'm just kind of old school, and liquid glue is just easy and convenient for me. But yeah, you definitely can use those little microdots to layer pieces like these together. Louise makes a good point. One of probably the reason why I prefer liquid glue a little bit more is because if it's a little off, I do have time to adjust with the glue because it's liquid. And so I can shimmy it into place, like as you can see what I'm doing here. And maybe you can do that with micro dots. I'm not completely sure, to be honest. Vicky, I don't think that there will be many visible updates to the website that you'll see. Most of that we've already done. I think what we're doing more is more technical stuff that really needs to get done that we have to take down the whole website for. So I don't think you will notice a whole lot on your end when it comes to website updates. Okay. So the thank you, I think I want it to go about there. It's either there or here. No, I like that little bit of white space there. So I think it's going to just go right here. Okay. So I'm going to glue down the flower. I'm just going to add some liquid glue along the stem. I'm going to tuck it in here. I'm not even going to cut away that stem because I actually kind of like it poking out of there. And I'm just wanting to make sure that I have it all within the confines of the card so that it will still stick into an envelope when it's ready to be sent. I love the added glue on my fingers there. I love the added dimension and the rigidity that adding just that extra blank layer underneath gave this. And it made it so I didn't crease all of those little tiny stems as well. And then I think I'm just gonna have to add like a tiny little piece of foam tape there. Just have to find my foam tape. I had panels out and now I think they're covered. There they are. Just some little tiny pieces here. Oh, look, I even got these little tiny guys that I can add right in there. Because I think that will help pop it up. And then I can just do some glue over on this side. Is there one more area where this little guy can go? Let's see. Maybe the top of the Y. Maybe. It won't, it'll stop sticking to my finger. Well, thanks, guys. I'm glad that you are loving how this is coming together. I am too. I think it's turning out nice. Definitely not like my normal color palette. And then let's add a little bit of glue just to the T. I think that will be plenty. And let's stick our sentiment in place. Okay. Now we could always add a little secondary sentiment with the stamp set. I'm not sure I want to, but I'll take a look at it and see. There is kindness is magic, which could always tuck right there. So blessed to call you my friend. That's a little big. Those other ones kind of go with thinking of you. So I could put kindness is magic on there, but I think I'm just going to stick with a normal thank you card. I think I'm just going to leave it at this. I could always put a sentiment on the inside if I wanted, but I think I am happy with how it turned out. So let's grab some bling. I pulled out some of our clear drops in amber, turquoise, and ice. And let's see how they look. All right, just going to dump out a bit of each color. I think those match really well. Yeah, those match good. Sometimes our aqua or kind of turquoise aquas-ish don't always match perfectly, but those ones actually match really well. Let's get the clear drops flipped over. I'm a little wily. These are some of those embellishments that for the most part, if you do the little shimmy shake, they do flip over in your brass tray. Glitter drops, however, do not do that. You have to manually flip those ones all separately. Oh, thank you guys. I'm glad you're loving this card. I'm loving it too. I think it turned out really fun. I feel like I just have like little remnants of glue all over and I'm filling them on my card and it's making me crazy. Hate that. All right. I really like the the second largest amber. And then we'll do aqua. And then smaller little ice ones. I may change this up, but this is where we're going to start with our gems or our clear drops, pardon me. Let's see. I may change the design up, but let's see. Kind of like it like that. The shimmy shake is fun when it works. It's frustrating when it doesn't work. And then maybe I may nix this, but let's see what I think of a drop at the base of each flower. I think that one's too big. Goodness. Too big. Oh, come on. Being a pain. That one's a little better. Maybe that one might even need the smaller guy. Let's see. That's kind of pretty. Oh man. Yes, Rachel. I have 6 of them, but no, that's one of the luxuries of working at Pink Forest Studio. I got a few, I think, that were not sellable. They were a little scratched up or banged up, and which that doesn't bother me. That makes sense to me. Of course, we wouldn't sell them, but I did get the luxury of getting the few that were not sellable. I think I'm good with that. I think I like those. So before I glue them down, I am going to put away these so I don't end up with clear drops all over my desk, which would absolutely happen if I didn't put these away. Oh, I don't waste jewels, and that one little guy didn't go in. So let's put him in there. There we go. Let's hit up, girl. Making messes. All right, let's get these glued down, and we are done with today's card. I always do that. I grab the glue with my right and the embellishment tool with my left, thinking I'm going to be able to do that, and I am completely right-handed. I can absolutely put down a dollop of glue with my left hand, but trying to guide the embellishment tool with my left hand would be a scary sight. So I have to switch them. Pretty much every single time I think I do live, I grab it incorrectly. All right. That is my card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed how it turned out. Turn my little lights back on for front facing. But I think it turned out super fun. Unusual colors for me, but I really had fun with that citrine colored foil. I know it's kind of gold, looks gold, but it definitely has a green tone to it. All right, so I am going to switch back around. So give me 1 second. All right, friends. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed watching my fun little card come together. Look there, you can see some glitter in this lighting. All right, so here momentarily, Heather is going to pick a winner of the $15 gift card code. So we're just waiting for that. While we wait for that, we do have a live this Thursday. We have a scrapbooking live, same time, same place, just on Thursday. And this week, your live is with Kathleen. So hopefully you will join us for scrapbooking live this week. Now, congratulations to Marilyn Schott. Hopefully I said your name correctly. You've won this week's $15 gift card code. Heather has given you all the information there to claim your prize. Just email me. My email is leah@pinkfirststudio.com. There is no H on the end of my name. So just make sure you spell that correctly and give me 2 to 3 business days to get that out to you. Now, Heather and I will be at the Create event for Simon Says Stamp at the end of this week. So if you are attending, be sure to introduce yourselves to us. We'd love to meet you in person. The lines are typically very long at our make and take table. So, but hopefully you do get a chance to, if you're coming, you'll get a chance to come and sit with us and do a make and take on one or both of the days, whatever you're planning on doing. I think that's about everything that I have for you. So hopefully you'll join us here on Thursday, even though we will be in Ohio at the Create event. I think we'll be working from our hotel room that morning. So we should be moderating in the comments before we head over and get set up at Create. Oh, thank you, Mom, full of joy. It's a little organized. It is organized. It's a little messy right now. I feel like I have piles of stuff everywhere that I'm kind of getting through and organizing piles. All right. Well, you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're going to be at Create, we hope to see you there. And we hope to see you back here on Thursday. Other than that, have a great week. Bye, friends.